We are here today to discuss a violent sequence of events in which an individual took it upon himself to shoot 4 innocent people, tragically killing 1. Our hearts go out to all the families affected by the senseless violence. The shooter in these connected incidents used an illegal scooter that did not have a license plate to move from one location to the next. Despite the difficulties this presented, our investigators were able to pull video of the shooter. The image was sent to the smartphone of every NYPD officer using what is called a critical message. A mobilization was also called in order to marshal our resources and flood the area. As it became clear that these shootings would be carried out by the same perpetrator, I immediately held an emergency conference call with all of our top executives, including Chief of Department, Chief of Patrol, and the Detective Bureau. Armed with an image of the suspect, our officers fanned out across Queens, focusing on the main thoroughfares. Shortly after 1 p.m., officers from the 103 and 113 precinct spotted the shooter on his scooter and took him into custody without incident near 94th Street, confines of the 103 precinct. A firearm was recovered inside the scooter. The 9mm pistol had an extended magazine. Given the violence this individual was willing to carry out, I want to extend my deepest thanks and gratitude to all the men and women in the NYPD who came together to apprehend him. From our officers on patrol to the various detective squads, our specialized units, and to our leadership in the field. You were relentless in your work, and I know we are all so grateful that this person is no longer on our streets. I will now turn it over to Chief Joe Kenny to share details about this ongoing case.
Thank you, Commissioner Caban. Good afternoon. My name is Assistant Chief Joseph Kenny from the Detective Bureau. I'm going to discuss 5 incidents that occurred in the confines of the 7-5 precinct in Brooklyn and 4 incidents that occurred in the confines of the 102 precinct in Queens. The investigation into these incidents is active and ongoing. The information I'm going to give is preliminary. I will not be providing the victims' names at this time, as notifications are still being made to family members. Incident number 1, at approximately 11:10 a.m. at the northwest corner of Ashford Street and Arlington Avenue in the confines of the 7-5 precinct in Brooklyn, an identified male Hispanic, 21 years old, was shot 1 time in the left shoulder. He was transported to Brookdale Hospital. He is not in likely condition. He will survive. 1 9mm shell casing was recovered at this location. Detectives from the 7-5 precinct responded to the scene with patrol. As they began to process the scene, they came across video that shows a male Hispanic approach our victim from behind on a scooter, raises his hand 1 time, and fires 1 time, striking our victim. Incident number 2, 17 minutes later, at approximately 11:27 hours a.m., in the confines of the 102 precinct in Queens, we received several 911 calls of a male shot in front of 108-19 Jamaica Avenue. When officers respond to this location, they discover a male shot 1 time in the back. The victim has been identified as a male Asian Pacific, 87 years old. This victim was transported to Jamaica Hospital, where unfortunately he did not survive his injuries. 3 9mm shell cases were recovered from this scene. The perpetrator was described as a male on a scooter firing at a nail salon on Jamaica Avenue. Incident number 3. When patrol officers responded to the scene of the homicide, they were alerted of another incident involving a shot being fired. Thankfully, nobody was struck. Numerous witnesses described a male on a scooter randomly firing at a group of people that were standing on the corner of 108th Street and Jamaica Avenue. 1 additional 9mm shell casing was discovered at this scene. After firing this round, the perpetrator fled on his scooter northbound on 108th Street toward Hillside Avenue. 8 minutes later, at approximately 11:35 hours, another victim was shot on the corner of Hillside Avenue and 126th Street. This male is a male Hispanic, 44 years old. He was shot 1 time in the face with the bullet striking him in the cheek. He was removed to Jamaica Hospital, where he's listed in critical condition. Once again, 9mm ballistics evidence was recovered at this scene. Incident number 5, less than 1 minute later, at 11:37 hours a.m., another male was shot at 134th Street and Jamaica Avenue. Officers responded to the scene and discovered a male Hispanic, 63 years old, with a single gunshot wound to his right shoulder. He was removed to Jamaica Hospital as well and is in stable condition. 4 9mm shell casings were discovered at this scene, and witnesses once again described the male on a scooter. Personnel Service Bureau and detective personnel were immediately deployed to assist in this investigation. An attempt to identify and apprehend the suspects began immediately. The acting police commissioner, Caban, immediately chaired an executive meeting, and we were given specific tasks and responsibilities to try and catch this perpetrator. Based on this quick deployment, the shooter was apprehended on the corner of Sufton Boulevard and 94th Avenue at approximately 1:10 p.m., less than 2 hours from when the first incident took place in Brooklyn. Patrol officers from the 103 and 113 precinct recognized the shooter based on photos that were immediately distributed to every cop in the street. The scooter, and more importantly, the 9mm semi-automatic pistol, were also recovered. An extended magazine, as well as additional 9mm rounds, were also recovered. I can tell you right now the perpetrator is a male Hispanic, 25 years old, with 1 prior arrest in New York City. Thank you.
We will now take any questions.
Steve Russo, Fox 5.
Can you speak to again how you were able to so quickly apprehend the suspect in regards particularly to the scooter he was riding?
So, as I mentioned before, illegal scooters are a problem in the city that myself and the men and women of this department are focused on addressing. In this particular case, the scooter is still under investigation, so I cannot comment this time.
Lloyd Mitchell, AM New York. Motive and specifics of why he did this?
I'll turn it over to Chief Joe Kenny.
At this time, we don't know the motive. It seems that his acts were random. If you look at the demographics and pedigree of the victims, they're all different. At this time, video shows that he's not targeting anybody, he's not following anybody. As he's driving on his scooter, he's randomly shooting people.
We have time for one more. I'm going to go to Melissa, Colorado from WNBC.
Did this gun have a serial number, or was this a ghost gun?
As of right now, we have not found a serial number on the gun. We're trying to determine whether it's defaced or possibly a ghost gun. We don't have that at this time. That'll come out later on in our investigation.
All right, thank you very much, everybody.